What is going on, guys? Sonic and the Bean Show here. Today we're looking at the brand new Jakks specific Sonic Prime Wave 3 action figures. Finally getting the chance to review these now. I've been asked a couple of times to do a video on this, which eventually I was going to do. So here we have Sonic the Grim is what they're calling it right here. And here's the packaging. The packaging is going to pretty much be the same as, the other figures, in the other ways. Let me actually lower the exposure. But 13 points of articulation. I would assume it's going to be the same as the other Sonics, really. And there's the rest of the entire wave right there. And then here we have Black Rose this time. Kind of odd that she's not going to come with like a sword or anything like that, because nobody in this wave is coming with an accessory at all, honestly. And like I don't think any of these figures are coming with like a gimmick either. And then she has 13 points of articulation. So yeah, that is Black Rose right there. Here is Chaos Sonic, New York City. I keep forgetting that they got the thing where they're from. I know Black Rose, yeah, hers said like no place. Yeah, so here is Chaos Sonic, and then here is the back right here. 13 points of articulation as well. And then we have Dr. Deep. So we got the second. The second character, part of the Chaos Council, since we have Mr. Dr. Eggman, so that's cool. We got Dr. Deep right here, and then here is the back. It's really hard trying to show the entire package just because of how tall it is. 13 points of articulation, so they all have 13 points of articulation. I've noticed that right there. But yeah, that is Dr. Deep, and that is all of the characters right there for their packaging. So without further ado, let's go ahead and crack these out of the box and take a closer look. Okay, so the first figure we're going to be looking at here is Sonic, of course. So this Sonic is, what they call it, Sonic the Grim. I don't remember this at all. Somebody told me about this. I know it has something to do with 9. I just can't really remember, honestly. I just know that the gloves and the shoes are different, again, compared to the other ones. But this is pretty much how Sonic is right here. So let me just bring in, we'll just bring in this Sonic right here so you can, see the difference with the gloves and the shoes. And then, I'll just bring in this one just because. But not a lot going on, of course. It's really just the gloves and the shoes. And, well, the expression, too, is going to be different here. But I do want to show off these just because the shoes and the gloves will be a little bit better to show compared to this one. But the gloves are actually different, as you can see. I will get into the expression, but the gloves are actually going to be different here. Not like a whole lot, really, but you can see like it doesn't have the same sort of like wrist cuff right here as this one does. But you can see like, this part right here is smaller than this, and it does have like a different design. And from the palm right here, the Sonic just fell, but the palm, as you can see, it's a little bit different. They still got, there's still like some details there going on. And then the shoes, of course, the shoes here being purple, but it's actually like transparent. You can kind of see through it, which is kind of cool. But that's pretty much that. Sonic, I think what's really cool about these is just the different shoes and gloves, really. And then Sonic has like this expression right here where he's cheesing really hard. So no more of like just the smiling one like that one, or this one. Now Sonic's actually like showing his teeth here this time, but he's cheesing really hard here, which is there's that. The skin is like about, I think it's still the same as this, a little bit maybe lighter, because I remember when this one came out, the skin was a little bit lighter compared to this one. Like this one was like a little bit more yellow, but I believe this one is still kind of matching this one just a little bit. It might be slightly darker, or maybe it's just the stomach, because I believe the stomach just isn't like really matching these. But it's pretty similar to that, though. It's just not like this type of color again, though. But yeah, that's pretty much that. That's all you're really getting here with these Sonic figures. This one just has a loose head. That's the only one that's the only thing I'm getting that's bad about this figure so far. But everything else is okay, really. It still has a hard time standing, but this one just has a really loose head, unfortunately. And this one I think had like a loose leg, and in that one I don't know if I had any problems with this one, but it's just that these Sonic figures are kind of like awkward trying to stand, and their heads are just really big. But that's pretty much all there is really. So you have that, and let me actually just compare this Sonic with 9, since I feel like it's probably appropriate. So here is Sonic with 9, if you want to see how that is. As you can see, I'm already having, well look, now 9 doesn't want to stand, but I'm already having a trouble trying to get this Sonic to stand. So yeah, there you go. There's Sonic in 9 right there. Alright, and next up is Black Rose. So this is interesting right here, because Amy now has 3 of her, figures now from the dimensions now. Because, we had Thorn Rose and Rusty, and now we got Black Rose this time. And this figure, it's not too bad actually. The head sculpt is probably the best thing going on with this figure. Like, I think the head sculpt is actually okay. She still has, like, the fur details going around her hair, as you can see. Like, there is some texture going on here, and I do like how, like, the attention to detail they got with the bandana, where, of course, like, her ear is covered, and I'm assuming her lashes is supposed to be underneath her bandana, unless it's just the same. I mean, it technically is the same color as her lashes, but I can't tell if it's supposed to be over the bandana or is it like underneath. I don't know, but it does make it look like it is kind of over. I would assume it's over it really, but it does look kind of weird like that. But the face isn't like too bad. You can tell she's happy. Let me actually lower the exposure a little bit, but the head sculpt isn't really too bad. I think it's actually okay. Her arms is kind of weird. Her arms is like super thick for whatever reason. It's actually bigger than her legs. Like, I can bring in Thorn Rose. Like, look at the difference with the arms here. Like, for whatever reason, her arms are like pretty big for whatever reason, which is weird. I don't know why really. And I think they're about the same height. Yeah, I would say they're about the same height. Of course, Rusty would be taller, since Rusty's supposed to be taller. So she's gonna be like slightly taller really. But yeah, you got Black Rose here this time. It's just so weird not seeing her come with a weapon or anything. Like, she has no sword, especially since she has 2 open hands right here. It's not like you can just put like another hammer from the other figures. Like, she can't really hold the hammer that came with the Thorn Rose, like mixing her names up. The Pico hammer with the 4-inch Amy figure, she can't really hold that either. So yeah, like, it's just odd that she doesn't come with like a sword or anything like that, or nothing really. So she just got open hands just because really. The paint it's okay in some spots. I think the yellow is where it gets a little messy, but like the red and the brown isn't too bad, especially like with the gloves here. And I think the paint, like the strap around the boots isn't too bad either. Articulation is similar. It might be a little bit limited. She still has like the ball hinge for, oh, you know what, I just remembered that the ball hinge for the neck on my figure is like, it's this way rather than this way. So I can only like turn her head this way, which is weird. It's not really working for me, but it's because they placed it the wrong way, unfortunately. So that sucks, and it's kind of like cracked a little bit to the side, and I don't want to like mess that up. So that that's disappointing right there. You can get a rotation though, so it's not like the quills is gonna get in the way for her. So that works. And then rotation to the arms there, and then hinge to the shoulder, which mine are actually pretty stiff, but there is a hinge to the shoulder. She does have elbow joints. The ball hinges are pretty annoying with these figures because they tend to move around, and you can't really, I mean, you can tell, but sometimes it's just odd to really work around with them. They're really like finicky. She has the ball hinges for like the hips too, unless this one is just, yeah, this one's just moved a bit. She can kick forward about there. Back not so much due to the sculpt going on here, so this is gonna limit that. She does have single jointed knees, of course. Really nice job the way how they did the knee joints. Like, that actually looks pretty nice, the way how they did the knee joints where it doesn't break the sculpt, so that's fine. She does thigh swivel, I guess, and then boot rotation, it is there. And then the ankle, there's also like a small ball hinge, because they all have the ball hinge to the ankle. So for her, she's not going to get as much range to go back. Forward, not so much either. Even like an ankle rocker, I don't even think is really there. I think that's non-existent. So you're really just going to get a rotation I just wish he came with like a sword, honestly. I feel like it's just kind of needed for the figures or the characters in the no place dimension, really. Next up we have here is Chaos Sonic. This one is pretty unexpected because it's, you know, it's a character that wasn't introduced until this second season, right? So it's like, I guess it's just because I was expecting someone else, honestly. So it's kind of like cool to see this character introduced into the line this early, really. And this one's pretty great, honestly. There's not a lot to really say because, you know, the character design isn't, you know, complicated or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty much like the Metal Sonic version of Sonic Prime. You know, if you want to see like, you know, like a design sort of difference here, you know, here's the, you know, the regular Metal Sonic figure if you want to see how that is, and then here's, you know, the back pretty much. You know, there's not a lot to really say here. You know, you pretty much see what you get here. The head sculpt, or I guess like the design of the head sculpt is, you know, pretty cool of the character here. You can see with Chaos Sonic, instead of it having like, you know, the open hands here as the Metal Sonic figure has, it just has the open hand but then a fisted hand this time. And overall, I mean, it's not bad really. I can't exactly remember how well it looked in the show. I think it looks exactly how this looks. I think the only difference though is I believe like this piece right here, it is a separate piece, but it's like not like that light blue sort of look. How's it, you know, how it looked in the episode where like it was like a light blue and I think it kind of like glow. You're not gonna get that here with this figure. I think that's just what's throwing me off here. So yeah, it would have been cool if this was like a lot lighter and it had like a glow sort of effect to it, really, because this is like a shiny like plastic piece. You can definitely like see the light reflecting off of it. It's just not like light, and I think that's just what's throwing it off because it's like almost the same color as the blue, really. Overall, it's not too bad. Articulation is still the same, of course. You know, the 13 points of articulation. So you do have, you know, the ball hinge for the neck. To look up, it not so much. I mean, to look up, you can probably just get this much, but to look down, it's not too bad. You know, you get that much for it to look down. You have your rotation along with your rotation to the arm. You get a hinge to the shoulder, which only goes just about horizontal, so you get that much for the shoulder. You do have you know, your single jointed elbows right there, and then, you know, your rotation to the wrist along with the ball hinge, you know, for the wrist right there. And then, you know, for the hips, Chaos Sonic can, you know, kick high up. Shouldn't be much of an issue right there. And then kicking back shouldn't be much of an issue either. You do have your single jointed knees. If I can try to, there you go. Yeah, try to bend at the knees right there. But you do have your single jointed knees going on there. You do have a rotation. And then, you know, again, the ball hinge for the ankles. Go back just about there. There you go. Yeah, I wanted to shut it off a little bit better, but go back just about there. Can't really go far forward, and then you just get your rotation there. So yeah, that's your articulation for Chaos Sonic. So yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, you can still like pose this guy. I mean, there's not anything crazy going on. Like, you know, I think the posability for this guy isn't terrible or anything like that. At first I thought you could like move the ears or so, but they're actually like that. You can't really move them. But yeah, that's Chaos Sonic. I think it's a pretty cool, you know, like figure, honestly. Okay, now for a comparison, here is Chaos Sonic next to Sonic and Mr. Dr. Eggman if you want to see how he scales. Chaos Sonic is pretty much the same height as Sonic, I would say. And then I will remove Mr. Dr. Eggman and, you know, we'll put in like Rusty Rose if you want to see how that is. Yeah, I think they're relatively close to the same height, honestly. Maybe Rusty's slightly taller, but I don't know. They all look about the same to me right now. And lastly, we move on to Dr. Deep. This figure is actually pretty solid so far. It has a really nice sculpt and paintwork all around, especially like where the gold is, like, you know, on the vest and then the shoes. Like the gold paint on this figure is actually pretty well done. I do like the tattoo deco they got going, you know, on the arms right here. It does continue to the front and to the side, and of course like to the back as well. Just this arm, of course, and then, you know, you have this on, you know, his left you know, wrist right here, you know, where the glove is. He got like an open hand, and then, you know, a fisted hand right here. The sculpt for the mustache and even the hair is pretty well done. The nose, the paint for the nose is kind of rubbing onto, you know, the mustache right there. But overall, the head sculpt is nice. I also like the glasses too. Like overall, this is a pretty nice Dr. Deep figure. They did a really nice job with, even the Mr. Dr. Eggman figure. Like that figure impressed me when I first got it, and this one is actually pretty nice too. I think they did a nice job with this one, honestly. Articulation. So he's not gonna get that ball hinge just because the head's like sitting pretty low. So you're really just gonna get a rotation. There's not really a whole lot of range. It seems like, well, I guess you could force. Yeah, I would say you can force him to move a little bit more. So he can like sorta, well, nah, you can't really like look over his shoulder. I think that's as much as you're gonna get, but it's not like terrible. You can still make Dr. Deep look off to the side, really. Shoulder full rotation there. Hinge to the shoulder will only go high just about here due to this kind of hindering that to go even higher, but that's still okay. I mean, he can get the hinge up higher than Chaos Sonic, so it's not like terrible. You have your single jointed elbows, of course. Remember, they all have the same points of articulation. You do have a rotation there, and then a rotation to the wrist along with that ball hinge for the wrist going on. For the hips, he can kick forward high about there, and then back, I'd say just about there. We do have our single jointed knees, and then we have a swivel there as well. And then the ankles, of course, they're on their ball hinge, so it can go back just about there, can go far forward just about there, and then you do have your rotation and a little bit of an ankle rocker. So here's a comparison to Mr. Dr. Eggman, and it almost looks like Dr. Deep slightly taller. Maybe I don't have him fully straightened, but it almost looks like, I don't know, honestly. Are they supposed to be the same height? I don't know. They look about the same height. But either way, I mean, yeah, you can tell that, Dr. Deep and Mr. Dr. Eggman are pretty great figures, honestly. I really do enjoy these two a lot. Here is Sonic right here, if you want to see how that is. And then one more I'll add in, but here is Dr. Deep and Rusty Rose, if you want to see how that is. And I actually almost forgot. I gotta add in Chaos Sonic too. So here's Chaos Sonic and Rusty with Dr. Deep. Alright, so that is going to wrap up this review on the Jakks specific Sonic Prime Wave 3 5-inch action figures. Overall thoughts on each figure. The Sonic is just another run-of-the-mill Sonic figure. Not really a fan of them at all. Black Rose is fine. The head sculpt is pretty great. Paint job is okay, but the articulation isn't the best, especially for the elbows. She doesn't really pose that well. Chaos Sonic is actually pretty good. It doesn't capture the look exactly from the show, but it does articulate nicely and is able to stand on its own at times. And as for Dr. Deep, it's not too bad. I think the paint and sculpt work is amazing. It just has its moments where it tends to fall on its own after a while for standing too long. It might be the right knee joint since it's already starting to get loose on me. But this is where I'll toss it up to you guys. What are your thoughts on this wave in the comments down below? If you want to pick these up, they are currently hitting Target stores. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. But until then, take care, my friends.